Hey there, it's Raina with LYLO Crafts, and I am coming on today as part of the Gratitude Collab Week 3. And this week we are talking about what season do we like the most. And so I have to say, up until this past year, I would have said Christmas, winter would have been my favorite season when I was in California. It was just a tiny bit cooler, and so we spent so much time with family and friends. But since we have moved to Tennessee and moved away from all of that, and we've now been through the seasons 1 year, I have to say my favorite season is spring. Winter was a difficult season over here, and everything dies and turns brown. Your grass, the trees, there's no more leaves, and we didn't have any of that in California. And so, really, all the way through February, it was like that. And I have to say, February was a difficult month for me. I struggle with depression, and so that really got to me. And so I was so excited when the green started to come up. Oh my goodness, it was so exciting. So I'm going to talk to you about spring. I'm using a jelly print as the background for this. And the flowers start to pop up and they start to bloom, all of the bulb plants, they start to poke their little leaves out. And it just reminds you that, oh, there is just a life around the corner, and also that everything has its season. So even in difficult times, those seasons will end, and there will be good and beautiful seasons that lie ahead. And so in the spring, we do so much gardening. So it is a time for planting seeds. As you can see, I am putting together a little seed packet here. I love to get seed flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I have a bed where I plant wildflowers every year, and some of those wildflowers even come back the next year without even having to be seeded. We also overseed our grass during that time, so that if there's always spots where it didn't come back after the winter, and so it's nice to go ahead and seed that area. And I have to say, that time of renewal just brings so much joy to my soul, and I love being outside. And so when it is super bitter cold out here, then we don't go outside that much. And so spring, we are outside constantly working in the yard, and I also love to garden. And so right here, I am adding S for spring, and I'm putting a little bit of this old, not really old, but looking like old tape onto there. And I am now gluing down a fussy cut image of a watering can and of, oh my gosh, I do use one of those little kneelers that is in that basket and the seed packets. And then here is a bulb plant that I am adding. Over here, the state flower is the iris. And so we have all different kinds of irises that we have planted in one of our planting beds. And so I wanted to be sure to include that. And now I want to put a journaling card into that pocket, and I am just using a scrap that I have. As you can see, it still even has that branding strip over there in the corner, and I'm going to leave that right on there because I think it's beautiful. I'm using a corner edger that I have, a little template that I put together to cut out those corners, and I'm using what's called a slot punch to go ahead and make that punch in the middle where I'm going to be adding some string and ribbon. I am stamping the bottom of this with love because spring, we do pour so much love back into our yard, and so I wanted to capture that. And I love that it is green again, and we get some rain, but we also get sunshine, and that feels so good on your face when you are outside. No more of the endless days of gray and of clouds. And here I'm using jute twine to tie into this little cardboard button that I have, and jute is a natural element which I love, but I also love the beauty of the pink that is in the flowers that are going to be planted. So I am coupling those two things together as I put those strings into the top of the tag. And I'm just going to trim them off so that they, can fit onto the page. And I'm going to hot glue down that button onto the page. Tell me, what is your favorite season and why? I would really love to know why. And over here, what I'm doing is just taking some of these flowers. I wanted to create a backdrop so that the planter would show up more against that paper, and so I am trying to take off the backing, and it's not working so well. The second one I was a little bit more successful in, so I've got those sweet flowers, and I am using that as the backdrop just to set off that little planter with the little garden tools in there and the gloves. And I'm trimming that off to fit right on inside of that pocket. And then I do want to add another word to this page, and I've had this little frame in my stash for a long time, and I am taking some brads, and I was so excited to see that I had some flower brads to put into those little corners, those little holes on the sides. I'm just bending the brads to make sure that the ends don't stick out of the sides. And I'm going to attach that on with hot glue, and I am going to glue in the word life, because spring represents life to me. What looked like it was dead really was alive, even though under the surface it was still growing, even though I couldn't see it. And it is such a beautiful reminder that there is always life around the corner. So please use the hashtag Gratitude Collab. Check out the other collaborators and the hosts. I've got links to their channels in the description below. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.